vinyl community? Welcome to another video with the Record Spinner. In today's video, I'm going to be showcasing 5 cool pieces of color vinyl in my collection. This is a bit of a companion video to go with the one that I did on the top 5 most valuable records in my collection, but this, however, is not necessarily a top 5 list. I do have a rather good amount of colored vinyl in my collection, and just going through my collection and seeing exactly what was on colored vinyl was a bit of a laborious task, and trying to figure out what were the most absolute essential top 5 would have been a impossible mission. So I just decided to select 5 records that stood out the most in my collection in terms of colored vinyl, and there is still a lot more that I want to showcase, and I think on this channel I'm going to be doing some future videos later on showcasing more colored vinyl, so be sure to stay tuned for those. What can be said about colored vinyl? It is essentially really cool and fun to look at, and this is also cool to see aside from the usual black vinyl that we get in most releases. For myself, as a vinyl collector, I am all about just getting an album that I really want on vinyl. I don't care if it's on black vinyl, and I'm also big on who mastered it and where it was pressed, if it's a good pressing, if it sounds good. But if it's on colored vinyl, that is also a major plus, and that also makes me go out and get it depending on the price, because sometimes, depending on the release, colored variations of albums can go for a bit of a high price tag, but if it's for a good price, I absolutely jump on it. So enough of the chit chat, let's jump into what this video is all about, and I am going to be showcasing first one of the most absolute coolest pieces of colored vinyl in my collection, and I think you're going to be quite surprised when you see who the artist is. What exactly am I talking about? Rocky Mountain High by John Denver. Absolutely amazing musician, rest in peace. An amazing songwriter, wrote from the heart, just absolutely wonderful, and it's really good mellow music. I mean, as much as I love to rock and roll and whatnot, this is really nice to kind of come down to. Absolutely excellent album. You have the song Rocky Mountain High, of course, and you got the cover of the Beatles' Mother Nature's Son, Goodbye Again. Just really awesome album. Sony Music did a couple of John Denver reissues. I believe this was back in 2016, and it was this album along with Poems, Prayers, and Promises and Back Home Again. And out of the 3, because they were all pressed on colored vinyl, and this one was the most visually stimulating because it was pressed on this rather neat clear vinyl with blue splatter. Looks absolutely cool. Not quite sure how limited these are, but I must say in general the prices of these things are not exactly cheap. I received these John Denver reissues. I have them all. The ones that were done by Sony. I got them mainly as like gifts around Christmas time. I know that my godmother got me this one, and I bought Poems, Prayers, and Promises, and my girlfriend got me Back Home Again. Those were the only 3 that were done. Not sure if they're going to do any more, but I do have to say, really nice to own. They sound great, and also look absolutely amazing. Up next is a complete shift in terms of genre, and that is Motley Crue's Girls, Girls, Girls. This features Wild Side, the title track. There's the cover of Jailhouse Rock on here. This is the 30th anniversary version, so they did a reissue on CD to commemorate the album's 30th anniversary, and they did a vinyl version. There is a black vinyl reissue that's been on the market for quite some time, but this one is very unique, and believe it or not, I found this at a discount bin at a Tunes somewhere up in like middle of Jersey, and I absolutely jumped on it because of the fact that it is on colored vinyl. But this, however, is on this really cool kind of black and blue sort of, I don't know if you can call it marbled vinyl, but just it looks completely unlike any other piece of vinyl that I own, and just looks absolutely amazing. I am by no means like a diehard Motley Crue fan. They are a fun band to listen to, and their stuff is normally rather cheap coming across it in terms of the reissues, and this one was no exception. So I really wanted to jump on it, and I'm really glad to own it, and it is definitely up there in terms of the coolest looking albums in my collection. And up next, we have one of the absolute classics. This is the Jimi Hendrix Experience. This is the Smash Hits compilation. It's a single LP set of various singles and album tracks from the Jimi Hendrix Experience. This features a couple of songs that don't appear on the US version of Are You Experience, as well as just some singles that didn't really make it across the ocean from the UK to the US. So this is really cool. Now this is a FYE exclusive pressing, and this is limited to I believe it's 1,000 copies, and you can see that my copy is numbered there. See if you can make out the number. It is number 302, and this is pressed on a rather nice kind of light red marbled vinyl. So it's kind of like a light shade of red as the main part of the vinyl, but then you have like flecks of dark red, yellow, and white. Absolutely amazing, and just looks really, really nice on the turntable. Very awesome. Pressed at Quality Record Pressings, mastered by Bernie Grundman. Absolutely sensational and enjoyable. I don't know if this is still available at FYEs. I take it probably not, and this was back, I think, in 2017, towards the end of the year. So the value has definitely gone up for this thing, but I'm really glad to have got it when it first came out, and I just held on to a copy. And up next, we are getting into another unique piece of vinyl in my collection, and this is something that I usually try to go after, depending on the price, because it is just simply really cool to look at. This is Ghost, Opus Eponymous. Now, with this album, there are many colored vinyl variations of this album. It seems like they just keep repressing this album over and over again on a different color. But this one is really, really unique. For a while, this was the most readily available copy, and then they start coming out with a bunch of other variations and whatnot in recent years. This, however, is pressed on split blue and white vinyl. And as you can kind of tell, the blue part is kind of translucent, sort of, and the white is rather solid. So this is a really, really cool piece of split color vinyl, and I believe at the time when I received this, I think I got this for my, I want to say maybe my 20th birthday, I believe. This was the first piece of split color vinyl that I had received for my collection, and I cherish this record more than anything because, I mean, first of all, it is an amazing album and just looks absolutely cool as well. Put this back. Kind of fits tight in the outer sleeve. Last but not least is a bit of a unofficial album, I guess you could say. Not necessarily a bootleg, but it is not really an authorized release by the band, so I do apologize. This is Rush. This is called A Passage to Syrinx. Now, this is a FM radio broadcast from 1980, so this was right at the time when Permanent Waves came out. Now, side A is the 2112 suite, not in its entirety. There's some bits that were taken out in the live setting. And then side B features a bunch of songs from, I believe it's like the, let me take a look. What songs are on here? Basically the first three Rush albums. So, early era Rush, recorded in a kind of a sort of mid-period Rush era. You pretty much get what I'm saying. This was put out by a label called American Icons, Coda Publishing. It's one of those labels that kind of takes those radio broadcasts and just puts them out. This is a beautiful piece of vinyl. I think I did mention this on a previous video, but I'll showcase it here. So it is on blue vinyl, and I'm going to bring it up so you can see the detail. You can see some glitter in there, so it's kind of like a glittery blue kind of vinyl, which is absolutely stunning to look at. And on top of that, the quality of the broadcast for this record is absolutely tremendous. Sounds absolutely killer. And just a really cool piece of vinyl to have. I believe they also, they've released this show in couple other different formats. I think they did a black vinyl version and they released the show in its entirety. So this isn't necessarily the full show, but it is a cool piece of Rush vinyl to own, and plus it just absolutely sounds wonderful, and it's Rush. Why not? Wow, so it felt like that went by rather quick, but don't worry, there is still plenty more that I'm going to be showing on this channel. Those were 5 cool pieces of colored vinyl in my collection. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video, and most importantly, keep the record spinning.